Hi. For pre-styling versions older than 2011, the emblem on the grille is leaky and its decorative layer is destroyed by dirt. The chrome coating of the elements of the external decor becomes cloudy. The leashes of the wipers peel off after 4 to 5 years. The bottom of the body is well protected by a mastic coating. No serious corrosion is observed even in specimens from the first batches. But surface rust on subframes and fasteners is a common occurrence, including on cars of recent years of production. Chips on the hood and windshield frame need to be quickly tinted. They bloom quickly. Weak spot, the tailgate. The most vulnerable places are those bordering on the corners of the number plate, which rubs off the paint in 5 to 7 years. Local damage is best repaired without waiting for the coating to swell and spread corrosion. Later, similar problems may occur near door handles and mirror bases. The tailgate sags over time and its lower edge is peeled off to metal from contact with the adjacent bumper lining. Corrosion is often found under the plastic lining of wheel arches and doors, primarily near their attachment points. For pre-styling cars, the clock on the panel may go out or go off. Do not rush to change the windshield wiper drive if the wipers stop in the middle of the wiper stroke. The failure of the limit switch is to blame. Noisy after 80,000 kilometers, the electric motor of the heater fan cannot be saved with grease. Closer to 100,000 kilometers, damper actuators in the climate system may begin to wedge up to the failure of a burned-out motor. After 6 or 7 years, the electrical system can fail with problems with contacts and the loss of mass under the hood. In the generator terminals, and oxidation in the engine ECU connectors are especially unpleasant. A common cause of an airbag alarm is as little as a correctable loose connection in the wiring under the seats or behind the door sills. Problems with activation of the rear axle coupling also lie in the wiring laid along the bottom of the vehicle. But errors in the operation of the ABS occur due to the fault of not only the engine compartment wiring, but also the control unit itself. The contacts on the board are destroyed. The 2.4 Series Z24 cast iron block engine, originally from the 80s, was produced in Australia at the Holden plant. It is weak, but simple and durable. It was installed on pre-styling Captiva older than 2011. Every 60,000 kilometers, along with the timing belt. It makes sense to update the water pump driven by it, so as not to risk breaking or cutting the teeth of the belt and damaging the valves and pistons if it is jammed. It happens that due to not very successful shape and thermal compensation, a cast exhaust manifold cracks. The crankcase ventilation system quickly becomes overgrown with deposits and sins with the failure of the membrane valve built into the engine cover. And the plastic valve cover itself deforms over time. Replacing the gaskets does not fix the leak. A new one will solve the problem. After a run of more than 100,000 kilometers, monitor the temperature regime. The thermostat may jam. The 2.4 engine of the A24 series is distinguished by a sleeved light alloy block, a phase adjustment mechanism, timing chains, and balancer shafts, as well as a water pump drive from a camshaft. Reliability, despite the complexity of the design, is not particularly affected. Cracks in the exhaust manifold are quite common. Make sure that water does not get on the hot metal from the drain of the windshield wiper box. The V6 3.2 motor of the Z32 SE series on pre-styling versions older than 2011 has an unpredictable resource of an overcomplicated timing drive. Sometimes replacement is required after 70 to 80,000 kilometers. The first signs of impending waste are running noises, followed by valve timing error and a drop in traction, and ultimately chain jumping. The engine overheats easily at the slightest malfunction in the cooling system, and the converters are extremely sensitive to fuel quality. The 3-liter V6 engine of the A30XH series, which appeared in 2011, is more complicated, but no more burdensome to maintain. The timing chain drive, with proper oil maintenance, runs for a long time. But the sensitivity to fuel quality is no less. First of all, because of the injection pump and nozzles. The direct injection satellite is carbon deposits on the intake valves, which must be removed periodically. Among the 2.0 Z20D and 2.2 A22D turbo diesels, the younger one is less troublesome, but it is found only on pre-styling Captiva. Diesel 2.2 has unreliable and at the same time expensive nozzles that are capable of wedging and pouring in the open position up to a water hammer in the cylinder. Boost pressure can be lost due to a crack in the plastic intake manifold. And oil leaks through an unsuccessful seal with a sealant of a two-piece sump will have to be eliminated with the removal of the front gearbox. Mechanical boxes are found in two versions. This is a 6-speed GM F40 and a Korean 5-speed D33 on pre-styling versions with a 2.4 engine and diesels. There are no complaints about the gem box, but the synchronizers of the 5-speed D33 often wear out by 120,000 kilometers. The 5-speed automatic Eisen AW55 had been in production for the 6th year by the time it appeared on Captiva and managed to get rid of most childhood ailments. The Japanese unit is durable. Even a torque converter lockup can last 240 to 260,000 kilometers. The main thing is not to operate the box in dirty oil. Otherwise, the valve body and solenoids will quickly become unusable. The Korean-made 6-speed automatic Hydromatic 6T4045 on restyled crossovers can last longer than 200,000 kilometers without comment, but only if it is a seriously modernized copy. And these are installed only on cars no older than 2014. In earlier versions, problems with the valve body, solenoids, torque converter, and even differentials and planetary gears are often found at runs of less than 100,000 kilometers. This machine is demanding on well temperature, and therefore it is necessary to monitor the cleanliness of the main radiator, into which the box cooling is integrated. Transmission front-wheel drive versions of the mechanical part is not too troublesome. On four-wheel drive vehicles, the Borg-Warner rear axle electromagnetic clutch can fail due to water ingress, overheating, and dirty oil. Front and rear wheel bearings may not last more than 100,000 kilometers. The rear gearbox is weak except for oil seals. But after 100 to 150,000 kilometers, the wear of the silent blocks of its fastening in the subframe beam reduces the life of the cart-end shaft. The crosses and the outboard bearing often become unusable with a run of 120 to 160,000 kilometers. Even in restyled cars, the steering rack can leak and knock at a mileage of 100 to 120,000 kilometers before modernization in 2011 and even earlier. After 100 to 120,000 kilometers, steering rods, tips, and crosses of the steering shaft may knock. The reason for the decrease in the efficiency of the hydraulic booster is a clogged filter mesh in the reservoir with the working fluid. The weakest of all are the front stabilizer struts. They have to be changed after 60,000 kilometers. Quickly, over 50 to 70,000 kilometers, the lower bushings of the rear shock absorber mounts wear out. The pre-styling versions have weaker rear suspension, silent blocks, and front strut support bearings, which do not always reach 100,000 kilometers. Ball bearings are riveted to the front levers, although if they wear out after 100 to 120,000 kilometers, you can also buy non-original bearings separately. Front shock absorbers usually withstand at least 100,000 kilometers. The rear shock absorbers of the self-leveling Nivomat clearance system are 1.5 times longer. Interior trim materials are not chic, but generally wear-resistant enough. The leatherette of the sidewalls of the upholstery is prone to cracking at the folds. At the steering wheel, after 100,000 kilometers, the painted plastic coating may be rubbed off in places, but the leather braid is usually well preserved. For power seats, the sleds are loose and can subsequently break. Sometimes they had to be changed already during the warranty period. Drips on the ceiling near the upholstery fasteners are just traces of condensation. Water can also accumulate in the ceiling lights. Laid along the passenger compartment fluid supply tube to the rear washer sometimes leaks along the joint. This spoils the floor carpet. To minimize the risk of leaks, use a good quality fluid and keep it free from freezing in the tubing. If you know of other breakdowns or malfunctions, then tell us about it in the comments. Your review can help others when choosing a used car.